Hello, today we're gonna disassemble Acer Aspire 5741G. We're gonna open the laptop, clean the fan, change the thermal paste, and also I think it has a broken hinge, so we'll see. We may have to glue some parts inside. So let's start. The first thing, of course, we have to remove the battery. After that, we're gonna open the cover here for the hard drive and for the Wi-Fi. This model is very common, so it's not very hard to be open. We're gonna slide the hard drive out like this, and we're gonna disconnect the Wi-Fi antennas because one of the cable is going above the board. So before we take off the board, we need to remove the cables. Now we start the boring part, removing all the screws. I like to remove them now instead of twisting the laptop. They are all the same size except the ones which are under the battery, but they are very different, so yeah, I think it's broken on this side. Yeah, we'll see. Now we have to remove the 4 little screws which are under the battery. And we're gonna remove the Wi-Fi also because it's held by the plastic here. Let me check. Did I remove all the screws? Yeah. Right now we're gonna turn the laptop around and open it. Now we need something sharp to open the keyboard. Find some place where you can start slightly push the keyboard up and try to open the mechanism, so you can make a way to use something sharp to pry it up like this. Push the lock mechanism back and open the keyboard cable, disconnect it like this. Now we have to remove the screws under the keyboard. I think there are 6 or 7. They're all labeled, so you can't get them wrong when you assemble the laptop. Now we have to disconnect the power button cable like this. We also need to disconnect the touchpad cable, and I think that's it. The cables for the speakers, we're gonna disconnect them after we remove the plastic. After all the screws removed, just start removing the plastic. But on this model the speakers are connected on the upper case, so we have to disconnect the speakers also. On the other models they are not connected, so you may not remove them before you open the laptop. But on this case we have to remove them. This is the broken hinge, which I have to fix later. But now let's continue with the disassembly. Now we have to remove the cables here for the side USB, the cable for the microphone, the cable here for the display. After that we're gonna remove the screws, and when we leave the board we're gonna disconnect the power jack cable because it's under the board and you don't have access to it now. We're gonna remove the screw, which is not here, missing, I don't know why. The whole board is held by one screw here, so just remove it. If you don't know the exact place of the screws, you can put a black marker around the screw so you can know where to put it back after that. Now we're gonna lift the board, twist it a little bit and disconnect the power cable. Let me find something to put the board on, like this. We're gonna remove the screws which are holding the CPU cooler side. After that we're gonna remove the screws on the VGA. Disconnect the cable for the fan. Always when you remove the cooler, especially when it's an old laptop and it hasn't been opened lately, just twist the cooler a little bit left to right so you can remove it easily without damaging the CPU or some of the components, like this. Now the only thing we gotta do, we gotta clean the CPU. We have to disassemble the fan. You can remove the fan by removing the two screws so you can separate it from the cooler. We have to remove the sticky tape here, just hold it together. You can see what is inside. Now I'm gonna pause the video so I can clean everything, and after that I'll try to make the assembly video. See you later. Now let's continue. I clean the old thermal paste. I use a regular IPA alcohol. You can use whatever you have in your hand. I also did clean the fan, clean the old thermal paste from the cooler. Put a little oil on the fan, so right now it's rotating very nicely. I usually don't replace the original thermal pads if there is any on the laptop. I have tried a lot of different models, but for me the original pads are with the best performance. So as long as they're intact, not ripped off, broken or something like that, I like to use them because their lifetime is much higher than the thermal paste. So if the thermal pads are okay, I usually leave them like this. So right now we're gonna apply a little thermal paste on the CPU. I usually use Arctic MX2 or MX4. There's a very small difference between them two, so it's all about your choice. But don't use a cheap thermal paste because you will need to open the laptop again soon because it dries faster. Now we align the cooler like this, and we're gonna put two screws on diagonal so they can tight the cooler evenly. Now we're gonna tight the VGA cooler and we're gonna connect the fan. Always double check did you connect the fan, because I have times when I had to open the laptop again because I did forget to connect the fan and it's not very nice. So always double check did you connect the fan or not. It will save you time and nerves. Like this. Now there was a few problems with the board which I fixed. This side here was broken, so I use a little hot glue under the hinge, so I fix it. Also, I'm going to show you my way of fixing the broken, I don't know what is it called, the broken plastic on this on the upper case. On this model here, this one is broken. This one which is holding the upper case for the hinge is broken, and the other one here is broken also. Now I'm gonna assemble the board. I'm gonna connect everything, and when it's about time to put the upper cover, I'm gonna use a little hot glue on the tip of each screw, and we're gonna push the plastic down so it can stick properly. The way I do this is because if you put the screw first with the metal thing on it, it tightens very good the hinge. So right now the hinge doesn't move, so it's fixed one way or another. And after that, when you apply just a little hot glue, it will stick the plastic to it, and that's, for me, that's the best way. So far it's working fine for me, so that's why I still use it. Now let's continue with the reassembly of the laptop. Now we're gonna put the board a little bit on the side, and we're gonna connect the power cable first. That's the most annoying part because it's not very easy. After that, we're gonna put the board back on its place. Just be careful with the cables like this. Once aligned, everything is much easier. We're gonna put the only screw which is holding the board like this. After that, we're gonna put the VGA, the display cable. Be careful with it, they are very tiny and sometimes fragile. Like this. We're gonna connect the microphone again. Put the cable under the board so it doesn't block the other things. Now we're gonna connect the both cables for the card reader and for the side USB. Just open the mechanism, slide the cable in and lock it again. Not very hard once you get used to it. Now is the tricky part. We're gonna use the hot glue for fixing the broken things. We're gonna apply just a little amount of it so it doesn't stick to the hinge. We're gonna put everything back and we're gonna use clamps just to hold it in place while we are assembling the other part of the laptop, like this. Now we're gonna put back the screws for the plastic here. The hot glue needs just a minute or so to harden, so you can use that time just to do some major things on the laptop, like putting the screws back, installing the cables. Now we're gonna put back the cable for the power button. We're gonna put back the speaker cables for the left and the right speaker. And we're gonna put back the touchpad cable. Now we're gonna put back the keyboard, and after that we're gonna flip the laptop around and put the rest of the screws like this. Now we're gonna begin with the small ones under the battery. We're gonna put the optical drive also. Put back the Wi-Fi card. Be careful with the Wi-Fi antennas. Slide the hard drive back. Make sure it's all the way in. Put the screws. And reinsert the battery. Let's see. You can see where the glue side is. There is not a big difference before and now. On this side is even better. I hope you can see on the camera. And the laptop is open. Nothing is moving. So basically that's the whole procedure. Does it have a battery? Let's see. Yeah, it's working. I won't show you because it's information on it. Basically that's the whole thing. I hope you like the video. Like and subscribe if you do. Bye bye for now.